Hello, hello. Welcome again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 30-year veteran writer, illustrator, editor, and publisher of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. In a second, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out a little bit more. I don't know why it's doing that, but all right, no biggie. All right, I thought I was going to block it. It's not. That's all right. Okay. Just got noticed that yesterday's video has been made private by YouTube because supposedly I'm infringing on something. Don't explain why. Fuck you, YouTube. That's all I got to say about that. So, let's go on with what today's topic is. Today's topic is the Eisner Awards. And it happens on July 24th through 21st to 24th, 2022. One of those days. I don't know exactly when. They haven't exactly announced the exact date of the awards. It's an annual event that is usually held during the San Diego Convention, held in July of every year. A panel of judges gets selected and they nominate finalists, which are then voted upon by the professional comics community as well as a subsection of fandom, usually from the academic and retailer circles. This year's judges are Barbara Randall Kiesel. Her career started in the mid-1980s at DC Comics, where she went from freelance writer to editor before heading out west, where she joined Dark Horse Comics in the early 1990s as an editor before returning to freelancing. She met I can't think of the gentleman's name, but the guy who started up CrossGen Comics in Florida in the year 2000, and she ended up helping start up CrossGen Comics. I think that they only met in 99, actually. But anyway, a few freelancing years later, she's now working for a tech startup that will be launching an app using comics to introduce a new computer technology. Next judge is Kim Munson. She was been a comics fan ever since her dad gave her Wonder Woman and Captain America comics as a lure to get her interested in figure drawing. She's an art historian, author, artist, and curator living in the San Francisco Bay Area, and is the editor of the 2021 Eisner Award-nominated Anthology, Comic Art in Museums from the University Press of Mississippi, and the curator of the touring exhibition Women in Comics, which has been featured in New York City, Rome, and Naples. There is Rick Offenberger, who's worked in the comics field as a retailer, distributor, reporter, public relations coordinator, writer, and publisher since 1990. He owns and operates the email-based superhero news service and has had his work published in print in the Comic Buyer's Guide, Comic Retailer, Borderline Magazine, and Comics International. On the internet, he's worked for Silver Bullet Comic Books, Comic Book Resources, Newsarama, and First Comics News. He was the public relations coordinator at Archie for over a decade, or around a decade, I guess. He's also worked for Tomorrow's Publications, having co-written the MLJ Companion with Carl Castiglia and John B. Cook, and for Gemstone Publishing, he wrote for different chapters of the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide to the Lost Universes. Next, we have Jason Roher, a librarian for the Sacramento Public Library. He's been working in libraries for 17 years, including correctional, genealogy, academic, and public libraries. In 2020 and 2021, he served on the inaugural Best Graphic Novels for Adults Reading Committee for the American Library Association, which establishes the best comics and graphic novels geared specifically towards adult audiences for libraries, library staff, and the public. He's also a board member for the California Library Association's Graphic Novels Interest Group and runs Grown Ups Unite, a graphic novel club for adults that meets virtually each month. There is Aaron Trites. He has over 15 years of comic retail experience. Currently is the owner of Now or Never Comics, located in San Diego, California. And previously he owned Kamikaze in Boston, which was the 2017 recipient of the Will Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award. He has a background in community management and event coordination, building social spaces online and in person at venues ranging from Abbey Road Studios to PAX in Australia. And lastly, not least, Jessica Desang is an international comics historian and public speaker on pop culture. She has been featured on AMC's Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics and Nerdist award-winning documentary, The Impact of Black Panther. She has been a moderator and panel discussion producer for over 500 panels at pop culture and comic conventions around the world. Some of her more notable panels include The Forgotten Trio, Colorists, Inkers, and Letterers, the 75th anniversary of Moomin, and Native American representation in comics and pop culture. Her panels have been covered by CNN, Newsweek, Los Angeles Times, New York Times, and other international outlets. So a pretty solid number of qualified judges this year. So here are the nominees for the Eisner Awards for 2022. I'll be listing each category and their nominees, and then telling you which one I like and which one I think will win, because they're not the same thing. And my track record is not horrible at guessing who wins, but it's not exactly. I'm not Nostradamus either by any means. For best short story, Funeral in Foam by Casey Gilly and Raina Telgemeier, featured in You Died, an anthology of the afterlife from Iron Circus Publications. That is my choice of the group. The next nominee is Generations by Daniel Warren Johnson, featured in Superman Red and Blue #5 from DC. That's the one I predict will win. We also have I Want to Be a Slob by Michael Chemison and Stephen Arnold, featured in Too Tough to Die from Birdcage Bottom Books. Tap, Tap, Tap by Larry O'Neill and Jorge Fornes in the Green Arrow 80th Anniversary Edition from DC Comics. And Trickster Trader Dummy Doll from Triple Dream, also known as Mel Hilario, Katie Langua, and Lauren Davis in the Nib Volume 9 Secrets, published by the Nib. Again, I'm figuring Telgemeier is probably going to get the most thing, but if they go with what's the most likely pick for high-profile stuff, it'll probably be Johnson in the Superman book. Any of these are certainly worthy nominees. If any of them win, whichever one wins should be okay. I don't think anybody's going to have hard feelings, whoever wins. But I do think it'll end up being Johnson. I hope it's Gilly and Telgemeier, though. Our next category is Best Single Issue or One Shot. This is a story that must be able to stand alone. Their nominees are Marvel Voices Identity, #1, which was edited by Darren Shan, Marvel. Mouseguard, The Owlin Caregiver and Other Tales by David Peterson, published by Boom Archaea. This is my choice for the award. Nightwing 87, Get Grayson by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo from DC. Wolven Daughter by Ver, Quindry Press. And Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez, DC, which is the predictive winner, I'm pretty sure. I just don't see Marvel Voices Identity getting it because it's more of an anthology than a straight-up one-shot story per se, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of how I kind of look at it. Peterson's book just stands out to me the best for me personally. But I think, again, because of what's more likely to be found in comic stores, what more people are going to be familiar with, is probably the Wonder Woman book. So it's either probably the winner, probably either be Wonder Woman or Marvel's Voices, and I'm thinking Wonder Woman will get it. Okay. Our next one is Best Continuing Series. There's Bitterroot from David Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green from Image. This is the one I predict will win again. It's been winning the Eisners, or being up there last few years. The Department of Truth by James Tynion IV and Martin Simmons from Image. Maybe. Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett and others at Marvel. I don't think this one will win. There's been too much heat about things being said about the creators that's negative. in this past year. I think that's going to adversely affect its ranking in this. Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Again, I don't know. I don't know about that one. And Something is Killing the Children by James Tynion and Werther Della from Boom Studios, which is my choice of these groups. But it might not win. That's why I said Bitter Root, because I think Department of Truth is going to take away some of the votes for James Tynion. I think he's going to get a split vote between Department of Truth and Something is Killing the Children, even though SIKTC is far better, in my opinion, of the two books. But that's my choices on that. Our next one is the Best Limited Series. We have Beta Ray Bill, Argent Star by Daniel Warren Johnson from Marvel, The Good Asian by Porsnak Pashiote and Alexandre Tefenki from Image, Hocus Pocus by Rick Worth and Jordan Culver, which is a webcomic at hocuspocuscomic.squarespace.com. That is my choice of these lists. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr by Ram 5, I guess. I don't know. And Felipe Andrade from Boom Studios. Stray Dogs from Tony Fleeks and Trish Forstner. Supergirl, The World of Tomorrow by Tom King and Bleaks Evely. I do not have a prediction as to who's going to win this. Well, I like Hocus Pocus. I know it's not going to win. There's just the latter three. One of the latter three, Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Stray Dogs, or Supergirl, is probably going to win it. Is what I'm expecting, but I do not know which one. I'd be very, very surprised if Hocus Pocus won. Best New Series. The Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. The Nice House on the Lake by James Tynion and Alvaro Martinez Bueno from DC Black Label. That is my predicted winner of the group. Not All Robots by Mark Russell and Mike Deodato Jr. from AWA Upshot. Radiant Black by Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Acosta from Image, and Ultra Mega by James Herron at Image Skybound. I abstain from making a personal pick because the truth is I haven't read most of these, and the ones I have read I did not like at all. I hated Tom King's Human Target. I was not that thrilled about Radiant Black. And I haven't read Not All Robots or Ultra Mega, so I have no opinion on those. And I kind of left The Nice House on the Lake as the one that I figured was probably the one that's going to win. Okay, best publication for early readers, meaning 8 and under. Arlo and Pips #2, Join the Crow Crowd by Elise Gravel from Harper Alley. Chibi Usagi, Attack of the Heebie-Jeebies by Julian Stansakai. IDW, I predict this will win, and it is also my choice to win. I Am Oprah Winfrey by Brad Meltzer and Christopher Iliopoulos from Dialed Books for Young Readers. I don't know how much she paid to get that in there. I mean, why? I don't know. Monster Friends by Katie Van Dam from Random House Graphics, and Tiny Tales Shell Quest by Steph Waldo from Harper Alley. I would laugh if Oprah Winfrey wins this. It's like, oh yeah, you bought that one. Because who the heck is... Kids don't care about Oprah Winfrey at this point. I'm sorry. I don't know how that even got on the list. I'm sorry. But okay. But like I said, my choice and what I think will win is probably Usagi. I could be wrong. It might not, because it might not have gotten the sales that some of the other books did. So if Monster Friends or Arlo and Pips wins, I would not be surprised either. Best publications for kids between the ages of 9 and 12. We have Allergic by Megan Warner Lloyd and Michelle Mee Nutter from Scholastic. This is predicted winner, and I have two choices on this one. I couldn't make up my mind between these two books. Four-Fisted Tales, Animals in Combat by Ben Towing from Dead Reckoning. Rainbow Bridge by Steve Orlando, Steve Fox, and Valentina Raccati from Aftershock Comics. That's my other co-choice. I could not choose between Rainbow Bridge and Allergic. They're just, both of them I think could easily win this one. I predicted Allergic mostly because it's Scholastic versus Aftershock, and I think that they'll have more presence on the market as a result. Salt Magic by Hope Larson and Rebecca Mock by Margaret Ferguson Books and Holiday House. Saving Soria, Chang and the Sun Bear by Trang Nguyen and Jeet Zung from Dial Books for Young Readers. And The Science of Surfing, a Surfside Girls Guide to the Ocean from Kim Denwell from Top Shelf. All of these books are good. I have no problem with any of them winning if I'm completely off base and somebody else wins. I have no problem with any of them. But I think that Allergic and Rainbow are probably the two that are going to be neck and neck on that one. Best publication for teens, ages 13 to 17. We have Adora and the Distance by Mark Bernardin and Ariella Christiana from Comixology Originals. Clockwork Carandra Volume 1, The Witch Owl Parliament by David Bowles and Raoul III from Two Books / Liam Low Books. This is my choice to win. The Legend of Auntie Po by Xing Yin Kor from Kokila Penguin Random House Books. Strange Academy by Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos from Marvel. And Win by James Tynion and Michael Dialmias, I hope I pronounced that right, from Boombox. That's the one I predict will win. Strange Academy could possibly win as well. I just think that Tynion's going to be the more popular writer over Scotty Young in that regard. But Ramos might pull it. I don't know. Personally, like I said, I would go with Clockwork Carandera. That's just the one I prefer. I don't know. It's an interesting selection of titles that the judges came up with. Best humor publication. This is a really tough topic. There's Bubble by Jordan Morris, Sarah Morgan, and Tony Cliff from First Second Macmillan Publishing. Cyclopedia Exotica by Arminder Dhaliwal from Drawn and Quarterly. This is my choice. Not All Robots from Mark Russell and Mike Diodato Jr. AWA Upshot, which was kind of a surprise to see that there. The Scumbag by Rick Remender and various artists from Image. This is my predicted winner because I've heard a lot of buzz about this book where I haven't heard any buzz about any of the other stuff on this list. Some of these books I hadn't even heard of. So that kind of tells you something. Like I had not heard of Thirsty Mermaids by Kat Lee from Gallery 13 Simon & Schuster. And I just recently heard of Bubble before being told about the nomination. So, there you go. But anyway, Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead by Haro Aso and Kataro Katara, translation by Nova Skipper from Viz Media. That one also has a possibility of winning it. It is a very popular manga right now. It might, but the Scumbag being an Image book, it probably doesn't have the best distribution. But I don't know. I'm really thinking, based on the buzz I've heard, I think that one's going to be the one that wins it. Okay, Best Anthology. We have Flash Forward, an still illustrated guide to possible and not so possible tomorrows by Rose Eveleth and various others, edited by Laura Dozier from Abrams Comic Arts. My Only Child by Wang Ning and various others, edited by Wang Salih, translation by Emma Massara, by LICAF/Fanfare Presents. The Silver Coin by Michael Walsh and various at Image. Superman Red and Blue, edited by Jamie Rich, Brittany Halzer, and Diego. It's not Diegues. I think that's supposed to be Diego Lopez. I don't know how that got Diegues there, but okay. I probably cut and pasted, and they probably misspelled it on the website I got it from, which is, of course, the official website. Go for it. Anyway, that's from DC. That's my predictive winner, again, because it is Superman. And then there's You Died and Anthology of the Afterlife, edited by Kel McDowell and Andrea Purcell from Iron Circus. That's my personal choice. I just think it's the better book over Superman Red and Blue. But again, we're talking about popularity as much as anything else with these awards. Best reality-based work. The Black Panther Party, a graphic history by David F. Walker and Marcus Kwame Anderson from 10 Speed Press. Hakim's Odyssey, Book 1, From Syria to Turkey by Fabian Tolmay, translation by Hannah Chute. Graphic Mundi, Penn State University Press. Lugosi, The Rise and Fall of Hollywood's Dracula by Corin Shadmi from Humanoids Press. That is my choice. Orwell by Pierre Christine and Sebastian Verdier, translation by Edward Gavin, Self-Made Hero. Seek You, A Journey Through American Loneliness by Kristen Radke, published by Pantheon and Penguin Random House, and The Strange Death of Alex Raymond by Dave Sim and Carson Grubal, Living the Line, which is the one I think will win because that got a lot of buzz. But really, I could see this one. I could see Black Panther Party, Lugosi, Orwell, or Strange Death of Alex Raymond winning this. It's kind of a crapshoot. For some reason, I'm just thinking Sim's going to win it. It just depends, if we get into the whole, if we're playing race card, then Black Panther Party should win it. If we're talking about something based on pop culture, I would go with either Orwell or Dracula. If you want to go comics related, you go with Alex Raymond. So it just depends on the perspectives of who's voting, I guess. I just figured I'd go with Lugosi to be different. Okay, best graphic memoir. We have Factory Summers by Guy Delisle, translated by Heidi Dasher and Rob Aspinall from Drawing Quarterly Publications. Parentheses by Elodie Duran, translation by Edward Govin. I always say Edward Govin. Top Shelf. Run, Book 1 by John Lewis, Andrew Adine, Al Fury, and Nate Powell from Abrams Comics Arts. Save It for Later. Promises Parenthood and the Urgency of Protest by Nate Powell, Abrams Comic Arts. Secret to Superhuman Strength, and that's by Allison Bechdel from Mariner Books. I abstain on this category completely. I have no idea who's going to win this. The only book I actually have read of these is The Secret to Superhuman Strength, and I don't think it's strong enough to win necessarily against some of the other titles based on what I've looked at, but I haven't read the others, so I really don't have enough information to give a informed opinion on this one. Our next topic is the best graphic album, new materials. Ballad for Sophie by Felipe Melo and Juan Cavia, translation by Gabriela Soares from Top Shelf. Destroy All Monsters, which is a Reckless book, from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips from Image. In by Will McPhail, Mariner Books. Meadowlark, a coming-of-age crime story from Ethan Hawke and Greg Ruth for Grand Central Publishing. And Monsters by Barry Windsor-Smith at Fantagraphics, which is both my choice and the predicted winner. I really can't see anybody beating Barry Windsor-Smith in anything that he's nominated for in this year. Monsters was just that, a monster book. It just, it's a magnum opus piece. I don't see any reason why that one won't win hands down. not to knock any of the other nominations. You know, I would be very surprised if any of them won, though. I cannot see it against Barry Windsor Smith this year. Okay, the reprint graphic album, The Complete American Gods by Neil Gaiman, P. Craig Russell, and Scott Hampton from Dark Horse. That is my predicted winner. Lock and Key House Compendium from Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez from IDW. Middle West, The Complete Tale by Scotty Young and George Corona from Image. Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons Deluxe Edition by Patrick Rothfuss, Jim Zub, and Troy Little from Oni Press. How the hell that even got on the list, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't see it. The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, California Deluxe Edition by Gerard Way, Sean Simon, and Becky Clinton from Dark Horse. Okay. I abstain, though. I don't have a personal favorite in any of these, but I figure American Gods is going to win because it's Gaiman and because American Gods has had the most high-profile presence as a property, I think, overall. Lock and Key might pull it off, but the other three, I just don't see it at all, especially not Rick and Morty. I just don't. Anyway, moving on. Best adaptation from another medium. After the Rain by Nadia Corfor, adapted by John Jennings and David Brame from Megascope and Abram Comics Arts. I haven't reviewed that book on the show, but that is my choice for the category. We have Bubble, again, by Jordan Morris, Sarah Morgan, and Troy Cliff from Second Macmillan Publishing. Disney Cruella, adapted by Hachi Ishii from Viz Media. This is my predicted winner because it is a Disney book. And I just, it's based on the movie, good or bad. I don't know. I see a lot of people going manga. I see a lot of people going to the cartoony stuff on that in this category, personally. George Orwell's 1984 graphic novel, adapted by Fido Nesti from Mariner Books, or The Ragged Trousered Philanthropist by Robert Trussell, adapted by Sophie and Scarlett Rickard from Self-Made Hero. Now, personally, like I said, I'd pick After the Rain by Nadia Corfor, adapted by John Jennings and David Brame. I'd also, if I wasn't going to pick that one, I would pick Orwell's 1984, the graphic novel. But again, I'm looking at it from the perspective that a lot of the non-industry pros are going to probably go to Disney because it's what they recognize first and foremost. If After Rain had been all by Nettie instead of being adapted from Nettie's short fiction, I think it would have won hands down. But, it is what it is. Okay, next one. Best U.S. edition of international material. Ballad for Sophie by Felipe Melo and Juan Cavia, translated by Gabriela Suarez from Top Shelf. Between Snow and Wolf by Agnes Demargue and Helene Kanak. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these names right. Translation by Maria Varenhorst from Magnetic Press. Love, the Mastiff by Frederick Brimod and Federico Bertolucci from Magnetic Press. The Parakeet by Espe, translation by Hana Chute. Graphic Mundi, Penn State University Press. Shadow of a Man by Benoit Peters and Francois Schweten, translation by Stephen D. Smith at IDW. Unfortunately, I have not read any of these books, so I am not going to suggest any of them. I'm sure, and I will respect the judges' selections, but I'm sure they're worthy of being selected. I'm sure one of them, whichever one wins, is deserving of it, but I'm not familiar with any of these, unfortunately. Best U.S. edition of international material from Asia, specifically. These are, again, adaptations, translations of manga. Chainsaw Man from Tatsuki Fujimoto, translation by Amanda Haley from Viz Media. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto, translation by David Evelyn from Viz Media. This is my choice. This is one of the more recent mangas I've picked up. I haven't had a chance to review it on the show. We'll get to it down the road here, hopefully in the next week or two. But Volume 2 just came out. In fact, I just got it yesterday. So that's probably part of why it's in my choice. It's right there fresh in my mind. Anyway, Love Sickness. Junji Ito story collection by Junji Ito, translation by Jocelyn Allen from Viz Media. That is my predicted winner because Junji Ito is who they are, and I just think that's probably the most powerful one of the group. Just my opinion. There's Robo Sapiens, Tales of Tomorrow Omnibus by Toranosuke Shimada, translation by Adrian Beck from Seven Seas. Spy Times Family by Tatsuya Endo, translation by Casey Lowe from Viz Media, and Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, which we've talked about a little bit earlier. I could see maybe Zom 100 getting this as well, but I really do think that Love Sickness, the Junji Ito story collection, is probably going to be the one that has the broadest appeal for readers, I think, overall. A lot of the other ones are kind of genre specific to a certain type of thing that you're going to have to be into, whereas Junji's got a wider breadth of topics in the collection. So I'll go and say that's the one that'll actually win the award. Best Archival Collection Project of comic strips that are at least 20 years old. We have Friday Foster, the Sunday strips from Jim Lawrence, and Jorge Longeron, edited by Christopher Marlone, Rich Young, and Kevin Kettner from Ablaze. Popeye to E.C. Segar Sundays, Volume 1 by E.C. Segar, edited by Gary Groth and Conrad Groth from Fantagraphics. This is my choice, and it is the predicted winner as well. Trots and Bonnie by Sherry Flanagan, edited by Norman Hathaway from New York Review Comics, and The Way of Zen, adapted and illustrated by C.C. Desai, translated by Brian Bruya from Princeton University Press. Popeye is the thing I did. I don't really, I know what Friday Foster is. I vaguely remember seeing The Way of Zen. I've never seen Trots and Bonnie. I just kind of have to go with what I think is the most recognizable name there, as far as that goes. Best Archival Collection Project of comic books that are at least 20 years old. We have the EC Covers Artist Edition, edited by Scott Dumbier at IDW. Farewell, Brenda Vione by Tardy, translation by Jenna Allen, edited by Conrad Groth at Fantagraphics. The Marvel Comics Library, Spider-Man Volume 1 from 1962 to 64 by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, edited by Stephen Corte from Taschin Publishing. Spain Rodriguez, My Life in Times Volume 3, edited by Patrick Rosenkrantz from Fantagraphics. Steranko, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Artisan Edition, edited by Scott Dumbier from IDW. That's my choice. And then Uncle Scrooge, Island in the Sky by Carl Barks, edited by Michael Catrone at Fantagraphics. That's the one I think will win of these. I could be wrong. I mean, it's a strong list here. I could see Marvel Comics Library. I can see Steranko. I can see Scrooge winning. I can't see the EC Covers edition winning, particularly because it's just covers. Don't get me wrong. The covers of the EC comics are amazing, and they have a significant historical impact and importance on comics. But I just don't know that that's going to be enough to win. I think more people be interested in reading and seeing it, the whole story, rather than just the covers. So again, my choice is the Strength of Nick Fury, and the one I think will win is Uncle Scrooge, Island in the Sky by Carl Barks. Next category is Best Writer. Ed Brubaker for Destroy All Monsters and Friend of the Devil from Image. Kelly Sue DeConnick for Wonder Woman Historia. the Amazon book one. That's my choice. Somehow, I don't think that's not right. That's not in the right spot. I would not pick Kelly Sue DeConnick. I think what happened is it got mixed up with Brubaker. Brubaker would be my choice. That is not correct. I would never pick Kelly Sue DeConnick for anything. I'm sorry. Felipe Melo, Ballad for Sophie, Ram 5 for Ram V, For Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Boom Studios, Swamp Thing, Carnage, Black, White and Blood, Venom, and Marvel, or James Tynion 4 for The House of Slaughter, Something Is Coming to Children, Wind, Nice House on the Lake, Joker, on and on and on. He's a predicted winner because of on and on and on and on. He's got so much stuff out there. Again, gotta make that clear. Again, actual choice here. My actual choice here is Brubaker, not Kelly Sue DeConnick. Just making sure that's clear. Again, that was a graphic misplacement on the text. Okay, best writer artist. Alison Bechdel, Secret to Superhuman Strength from Mariner Books. Junji Ito, Story Collector, Love Sickness as well. Daniel Warren Johnson for Superman Red and Blue and Beta Ray Bill. Will McPhail or Barry Windsor Smith. I got to go with Barry Windsor Smith. I think that's the one who's going to win. Again, anything that Barry's being nominated for, I think he's got it hands down. If Barry doesn't win this one, it has to go to Junji Ito. Otherwise, it's the other three. I just don't see it. I'm sorry, not compared to Junji or Barry, but I would go with Barry. Mm-hmm. Best penciler inker or best penciler inker team. This kind of annoys me. This category. There's no teams here. I don't know. I think there should be a penciler inker team. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. Penciler inker. Just say the best artist. That's best line artist. If you're gonna go penciler inker that way as a single person, that's just me. I know why it's done that way because the industry's changed and they're not using inkers the way they should, but oh well. Anyway, Felipe Andrade, Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Boom Studios, Phil Jimenez, Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons, Bruno Redondo, Nightwing, which is the predicted winner because Redondo's got a ton of other award nominations in this year. So I figure he's got to win something. So I figure this is probably the one he's going to win. Esad Ribic for Eternals. I don't see it. P. Craig Russell, Norse Mythology. That's my choice. That's just my guy there. I can even see Phil Jimenez winning for Wonder Woman Historia, potentially. But like I said, as far as the buzz and who's getting the most nominations and stuff, I would say Bruno is. And this is probably the best category, most likely for him to win, in my opinion. Best painter or most multimedia artist for interior pages. Federico Bertolucci for Brindle and Love the Mastiff from Magnetic Press. John Bolton from Hell's Flaw from Renegade Arts Entertainment. Juan Cavia, Ballad for Sophie for Top Shelf. That's my predicted winner because Ballad for Sophie's gotten so many nominations. Frank Pay for Little Nemo from Magnetic Press. Ileana Sertikhan for The Lost Sunday from Pronia AB. And Sana Takeda from Monstrous from Image. I don't have a favorite. I don't have one that I would pick over the other on these particularly. Some of them I haven't seen. I haven't seen John Bolton's book, but I know of John Bolton, and I know that the quality would probably be there. I see different types of quality. I guess you could say, in each of these. So I could, I just think Juan will win mostly because he's just gotten enough nominations elsewhere for Ballad for Sophie, and maybe Federico Bertolucci for Love the Mastiff because that got some love. Pardon the the pun. Elsewhere in other categories as well, but I don't know. That one I just don't really have a favorite for. Best cover artist. There is no prediction on this one. I have no idea. But I think it would be hilarious if Yoshitani won. We'll talk about that in a minute. The choices are Jim Bartell, who did Future State, Immortal Wonder Woman 1 and 2, Wonder Woman Black and Gold #1, and Wonder Woman 80th Anniversary, and Wonder Woman and Women's History Month variant covers. In other words, she's the woman cover artist. David Mack for Norse Mythology. That's my choice just because it's Norse Mythology. And I don't even really buy the David Mack covers. I prefer the P. Craig Russell covers, to be honest. But of these, I would pick David for the covers. Again, you got Bruno Redondo for Nightwing. I gave Bruno the heads up elsewhere. Alex Ross, yes, I get it, but I'm tired of Alex Ross, to be honest. So no, thank you. Julian Totina Tedesco for Just Beyond, Monstrosity, Dune, House of Atreides, Action Comics, and The Walking Dead Deluxe. Maybe, I don't know. And then finally, Yoshi Yoshitani for I Am Not Starfire, The Blue Flame, Giga, and Witchblood. I'm more familiar with their work for Giga. I did see the cover for I Am Not Starfire, of course. And that's kind of why it would be great if they won, because I could just see if they won the award for best cover artist, I could just imagine the shitstorm that's going to come from all the haters. And I kind of want to see that just for the heck of it, But other than that, that's all I got to say about best cover artist. Best coloring. Felipe Andrade and Inez Amara for The Many Deaths of Layla Starr from Boom Studios, Terry Dodson for Adventure Men, Kay O'Neill for the T-Dragon Tapestry from Oni, Jacob Phillips for Destroy All Monsters in Front of the Devil. That's my choice. That's on Brubaker's Reckless books and stuff. And then there's Matt Wilson for Undiscovered Country, Firepower, Eternals, Thor and Wolverine, and Joanna and the Impossible Monsters. I predict him to win because everybody else has got like one, maybe two books, and he's got like all these books that he's doing. So I think just the sheer amount of books is going to probably put him over. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting category, to say the least, on that one. Best lettering. We have Wes Abbott for Future State, Nightwing, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman Black and Gold, all from DC. Clayton Cowles for the Amazons, Batman, Batman, Catwoman, Strange Adventures, Wonder Woman Astoria, Adventure Men, Daredevil, Eternals, King in Black, Strange Academy, Venom, X-Men by Hickman, X-Men by Duggan. Is there more? He's predicted winner because he's everywhere. Crank for Joanna and the Impossible Monsters, and T-Dragon Tapestry and Money Shot. Ed Dukeshire for Once and Future and Seven Secrets, and Bray Winter-Smith for Monsters. I want Barry to get it just for lettering even. It's just the best book overall. I wouldn't complain if Ed Dukeshire got it, but I don't think either one of them are going to get it. I think Clayton's going to get it. Best comics related periodical for journalism. There's Alter Ego, edited by Roy Thomas from Tomorrow's Publishing. The Columbus Scribbler, edited by Brian Canini, Jack Wallace, and Steve Steiner, ColumbusScribbler.com. Fanbase Press, edited by Barbara Diller at fanbasepress.com. ComicsJournal.com, edited by Tucker Stone and Joe McCulloch by Fantagraphics. And Women Write About Comics.com, edited by Wendy Brown and Nola Bafau, WWAC. I abstain on this because the truth is I am largely unfamiliar with most of these. which is kind of surprising. Usually when people talk to me about journalism, comics journalism, they're throwing Bleeding Cool and Fantagraphics or not Fantagraphics, Newsarama, that's what I'm trying to think of, and CBR and those sites, and I think those all suck. I've obviously I know what the Comics Journal is, and if I had to go by default, they would get because I know who they are. I know about Women Write About Comics.com. Never actually looked at it. Never heard of Fanbase Press. I've just recently heard about the Columbus Scribbler, but I haven't really looked at it. And Alter Ego is, it's kind of like the Comics Journal. It's a nice periodical, but it's not even tomorrow's best book, in my opinion. I think their best book is Back Issue. So I'm just going to abstain on that one. I have no idea who's going to win. I don't have a choice on any of those. Best comic-related book. All of the Marvels by Douglas Wolfe from Penguin Press. The Art of Tie Comics. A Century of Strips and Stripes from Nicholas Verstappen from River Books. Fantastic Four #1, panel by panel by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Chip Kidd, and Jeff Spear from Abrams Comic Arts. Old Gods and New, a companion piece to Jack Kirby's Fourth World by John Morrow with John B. Cook from Tomorrow's. That's my choice. And then True Believer, The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee by Abraham Reisman from Crown Books. That's the one I predict will win, mostly because of Stan Lee's recent passing. And I just think that that's the one that a lot of people are probably going to be reading of all of these particular books. Again, I would go with the Jack Kirby stuff because I tend to side with Jack more than Stan on a lot of things. So that's where I picked the Old Gods and New book. But, it is what it is. Best academic or scholarly work. Comics and the Origins of Manga, a revisionist history by Iki Exner from Rutgers University Press. This is the one I think will probably win of the ones here. The Life in Comics of Howard Cruz, Taking Risks in the Service of Truth by Andrew J. Kunka from Rutgers University Press. Pardon me. That's a good book as well. Mysterious Traveler, Steve Ditko, and the Search for a New Liberal Identity by Zach Cruz. University Press of Mississippi. That's my choice of these because I just, with the whole SJW movement and stuff, I think if people actually look at that particular book and study Ditko and how when he was doing things back in the 60s and searching for a new liberal identity, I think that's kind of going on right now in society where liberalism and conservatism are trying to find a new definition of what it really means to be liberal or conservative with that stuff. So I think that's probably the most important book. So that's the one I gave the choice to for myself. Pulp Empire, The Secret History of Comics Imperialism by Paul S. Hirsch by University of Chicago Press. Excellent book. But it's very dry reading in a way, I guess you could say. If you're not interested in the business side of comics, I don't think that book would interest you particularly. The Rebirth of the English Comic Strip, a kaleidoscope from 1847 to 1870 by David Kunze, or Kunzel, rather, from University Press of Mississippi. I'm not really sure what people will think of that one. So, again, I think the manga will be the one that wins because manga is so popular right now, and I would pick the Steve Ditko book myself. Best Publication Design. The Complete American Gods, designed by Ethan Kimberling by Dark Horse. The Complete Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck Deluxe Edition, designed by Justin Allen Spencer at Fantagraphics. That's the one I think will win Crash Pad, designed by Gary Panter and Justin Allen Spencer, Fantagraphics. If Scrooge McDuck doesn't win, it's probably because they got split vote with Justin for Crash Pad. Machine Gun Kelly's Hotel Diablo, designed by Tyler Boss from Z2 Publications. The Marvel Comics Library, Spider-Man Volume 1, 62 to 64 by Taschen. They don't say who the actual designer was, just as Taschen. They may have forgotten in the listing that I read from off of San Diego Con's actual official site. And then there's Popeye Volume 1 by E.C. Cigar, designed by Jacob Covey, Fantagraphics. That's my choice, but I could see American Gods, Scrooge McDuck, or Popeye winning this. The reason I didn't go with the Life and Times Scrooge McDuck is because I've seen so many Scrooge McDuck editions made, and it's just another one for me. But I think a lot of people might really like that one. I could see American Gods winning because of the Stars that they're on. Stars are Netflix. I could see that possibly winning because of that connection. Again, I think, though, as far as best new stuff, everything, I think the Popeye volume is the choice. Best webcomic. I have to abstain because I didn't read any of these, unfortunately. I'm not a big webcomic guy, but the nominees are Batman Winning Family Adventures by CRC Payne and Starbite at DC Webtoon, Isle of Elsie by Alec Longstreth, Laura Olympus by Rachel Smythe at Webtoon, Navalera Like a Butterfly by Hun and Jimmy, translation by Christiana Lee, from Tapas Media and Cacao Entertainment, and Unmasked by Breary and Newitt. This is the Webtoon Factory from Europe Comics. Again, I haven't seen any of these. I've heard of Laura Olympus before. I've heard of Isle of Elsie, and I've heard of Batman. I think I have seen Batman Wayne Family Adventures in passing, but I haven't actively read it. It didn't impress me. But I can understand, again, it's Batman. It's there. This is just a category that I'm really not qualified to speak on right now. There's other webcomics I probably would pick over most of these, to be honest, but that's just the way it is. Did best digital comic, and this is funny. I always wonder what is the difference between a best digital comic and a webcomic, but okay, whatever. Days of Sand by Amy DeJong, translation by Christopher Bradley from Europe Comics. Everyone is Tulip by Dave Baker and Nicole Gao. LV1 is tulip.com. It's Jeff by Kelly Thompson and Juri Hiru from Marvel. Love After World Domination by Hiroshi Noda and Takahiro Wakamatsu. Translation by Stephen LaCroix from Kodansha Comics. And Snow Angels from Jeff Lemire and Jack at Comixology. I'm going to abstain again because the only one I've seen of these is Snow Angels. And while Snow Angels was fine, there's nothing wrong with it, I would be remiss to say it's the best when I haven't looked at any of the others. Okay, those are all the categories and nominations. Now, there is the nominees for Hall of Fame. Let's pull that out there. You're allowed 4 selections out of the following people: Howard Chaykin, Jerry Conway, Kevin Eastman, Stephen Englehart, Moto Hagio, Larry Hama, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, David Mazzucchelli, Jean-Claude Mazieres, Grant Morrison, Gasper Saladino, Jim Shooter, Gary Trudeau, Ron Turner, George Tuska, Mark Wade, and Kat Ironwood. Now, I picked Stephen Englehart because he's just somebody his work on Captain America and Batman particularly just spoke to me when I was younger, and I'd love to see him get in. Jean-Claude is one of the co-creators of Valerian. He just recently passed last year. and I'm a big fan of Librarian, so I picked that. Shooter, I know a lot of people are going to kind of think that's a little bit of a controversial pick. He's had a lot of contributions to this industry, both as a creator and as a executive. So I think it's a reasonable choice. And I picked Gary Trudeau for Doonesbury because I wanted to get someone outside of the comic book scene and from the comic cartooning industry as well. Some of these people, I don't know why they're on this list. Don't get me wrong. Pretty much everyone on this list deserves to be a Hall of Famer. They all have valid cases. Some of them I don't like. Personally, I'm not going to say who. I think you know who they are anyway if you know anything about me. But then I realize some of mine is like, is it really time for them to be on the ballot for a Hall of Fame yet? Are they really? And then I think about it, and then I realize, they're that old. They do belong on this list, and that it's like that makes me feel really bad. It makes me feel too old. But any of these people would be reasonable choices. I know some of you might not know who Ron Turner is or Gasper Saladino. Gasper was a lettering guru from the 70s, 80s, and worked into the 2000s. Probably one of the more underrated letterers in the business. You might not know who Moto Hagio is, but and the ones that the judges selected, which I don't have right off the top of my head, were all good choices. We'll revisit that at a later time. So that, I believe, is all of our Eisner discussion. So that's what I thought of it. And if you have questions that you want me to talk about, topic or something like that, Quoth the Raven, lbr72@gmail.com, subject QTR Q&A. Again, yesterday's Q&A was removed, made private by YouTube. No explanation. I guess probably because they thought I was copying Perch or something, maybe. I don't know. They know when you don't explain yourself, go to hell, YouTube. So anyway, I don't care. So anyway, that is all for this episode. If you liked what you saw or you think others might, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from my channel. As always, thank you for watching and for your support. To reach me on social media, Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven, Twitter @LewisBrightRave2, DeviantArt.com/BrightRaven is where you can find some of my artwork. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven exclusively on YouTube. Again, to reach out to me on email for questions, suggestions on work, or topics you want me to talk on, commissions, Quoth the Raven, LBR72@gmail.com. I'll get back to you within a day or two. Try LewisBrightRaven@yahoo.com. Now, normally I do my Friday night discussion for TV, film, manga, and that was the original scheduled for this week. Unfortunately, I have to delay it until tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So just heads up on that. If you were looking for it, it'll be tomorrow night when we talk about Gotcha Man. We'll talk about the first 20 episodes of the original 1972 series. Okay, then. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.